System diagnostic initiated. Scanning phylogenetic record. Anomaly detected. Ethanol sequence. Status: embedded. Replicating. Optimal. Decoding primary directive. This is not a story. It is a transmission. A signal buried in the noise of 10,000 years of history, biology, and spirit. It concerns the single most influential molecule in the human saga. Not oxygen. Not water. Ethanol. We have been reading this signal backwards. We called it celebration, sacrament, relaxation. We mislabeled the containment protocol as a feature of civilization. For the next 45 minutes, you will receive the decoded data stream. You will see the complete architecture of what we will term the Ethanol Enigma. This is the ultimate system analysis of the human condition. Strap in. I am a signal. I am Napoleon inspires. And this is the transmission for those ready to upgrade. Module 1. Origins. The embedded code 1.1 The symbiote hypothesis, beyond adaptation. Conventional theory. Our ability to metabolize ethanol was an evolutionary advantage for digesting ripe fruit. This is insufficient. Consider the symbiote hypothesis. A symbiote is an organism that lives in close association with another, often to mutual benefit. What if early ethanol-producing yeast, Saccharomyces, formed not a dietary, but a neurochemical symbiosis with early hominids? The primate consumes fermented fruit. The yeast gains propagation. The primate gains a neurochemical state that reduces fear, increases social bonding, and suppresses the stressful hypervigilance of the wild. This is not mere calories. This is psychotropic pacification. The code was not written in our DNA by random mutation. It was negotiated in a primordial deal between species. We didn't just evolve to process ethanol. We may have co-evolved with it as a behavioral moderator. The first addiction was not a human failing. It was a cross-species pact for easier survival. 1.2 The domestication catalyst, the sedentary switch. Moving forward 12,000 years. The Neolithic Revolution. The standard model is flawed. It posits a linear path. Agriculture - surplus - settlement - civilization - alcohol. The ethanol first model proposes a different sequence. Discovery of controlled fermentation, likely accidental. Experience of its predictable neurochemical effects. Reduced anxiety, increased group cohesion, passivity. The conscious or unconscious realization that this substance makes sedentary, repetitive, hierarchical life neurologically tolerable. The adoption of agriculture not primarily for bread, but to secure the feedstock, grains, grapes, for this new psychotechnology. Alcohol wasn't a reward for building civilization. It was the chemical prerequisite that made the psychological burden of civilization acceptable. The first city walls were built not just to keep raiders out, but to create a protected space where the fermentation vats, the true engines of social order, could operate uninterrupted. The farmer wasn't celebrating the harvest with beer. He was drinking his existential wage. The alcohol was the direct chemical compensation for the loss of nomadic freedom, acute sensory awareness, and immediate gratification. It was the original direct deposit into the brain's account of contentment. Module 2. The Neurospiritual Coup 2.1. The hijacking of ritual and rite of passage. Every culture has rites of passage, puberty ceremonies, marriages, initiations into mystery schools. These are consciousness-altering events by design, meant to mark a permanent psychic shift from one state of being to another. Alcohol performed a hostile acquisition of these rites. The sacred, guided, intentional alteration of consciousness via ritual, ordeal, or sacrament was replaced by the democratic, unguided, chaotic alteration via consumption. The elder, shaman, or priest, the keeper of meaning, was replaced by the bartender or host, the keeper of quantity. The transformative, life-defining experience was replaced by the forgettable, repeatable event. This severed the link between altered states and wisdom. You could now have the effect without the cause, the dissolution without the insight, the communion without the community. It created a world of eternal adolescence, perpetually undergoing a counterfeit initiation that leads nowhere but to the next round. 2.2 The God-Pharmacon Replacement Theory. Humanity's deepest drive is for transcendence, to touch something greater than the self. This yearning built temples, inspired art, and fueled philosophy. It is the engine of the sublime. Ethanol presented itself as the over-the-counter god. Need for connection? It simulates social bonding via disinhibition. Need for ego dissolution? It provides oblivion. Need for meaning? It offers a ritualized, predictable sequence: the pour, the toast, the drink. It is the ultimate placebo sacrament. It mimics the superficial symptoms of spiritual experience: loss of self, warmth, connection, while surgically removing the core. The enduring transformation, the moral clarity, the connection to the actual transcendent. It didn't just compete with religion. It offered a more convenient, less demanding alternative. Why fast, pray, and meditate for a glimpse of the divine when you can purchase a facsimile in a bottle? The great spiritual wars were not just between faiths. They were between authentic, arduous transcendence and its cheap, chemical imitation. Module 3. The Biochemical Empire. 3.1 The Dopamine Cartel. Monopolizing motivation. Let's model the brain as a free market of motivation. Different activities, learning, creating, competing, loving, are like competing businesses offering varying dopamine payouts to the consumer. You enter ethanol, the dopamine cartel. It doesn't compete fairly. It uses pharmacological dumping. It floods the market with an artificially cheap, ultra-potent form of dopamine currency, bankrupting all other businesses. Why would you invest years in mastering a craft? Slow, uncertain dopamine return when you can have a guaranteed, immediate, massive payout in 20 minutes. Why build a deep, complex relationship, modulated dopamine, when you can have the simulated intimacy of drunken confession? The cartel doesn't just win market share. It rewrites the rules of the economy. Soon, the brain's investment portfolio is all in one toxic, hypervolatile asset. All other sources of joy and motivation are bankrupt. This is the neural root of the modern crisis of meaning. You are not unmotivated. Your motivational economy has been colonized by a monopoly. 3.2 The Epigenetic Propaganda Ministry. Your genes are not a dictatorship. They are a responsive parliament. Epigenetic markers are the votes that determine which genes get expressed, influenced by environment, behavior, and thought. Chronic alcohol exposure installs a corrupt, fear-based propaganda ministry at the heart of this parliament. It silences, methylates the voices of growth, repair, and vitality. It amplifies, acetylates the voices of inflammation, stress, and survival fear. Your biology is no longer voting based on your best interest, but on the agenda of the invader. The parliament is passing laws that favor short-term crisis management, detox, over long-term, thriving, growth, neurogenesis. Worse, this corrupt ministry can be inherited. Its fearful policies are passed down to the next generation. Your child's genetic parliament may open its first session already under the influence of your biochemical propaganda. You are not just poisoning yourself. You are establishing a hereditary occupation government in your lineage's biology. Ning. Module 4. The Temporal and Social Engineering. 4.1 Chronodisintegration. Attacking the tetrahedron of time. A healthy psyche exists as a tetrahedron in time. Past, integrated memory, wisdom. Present, engaged sensorium, experience. Future, imagined potential, aspiration. The eternal now, the timeless witness behind it all, consciousness. Ethanol attacks each vertex. Past, corrupts data storage, hippocampal damage, turning wisdom into fragmented, haunted data. Present, hijacks the sensorium, replacing rich experience with a biochemical crisis simulation. Future, collapses the imaginative faculty, making aspiration impossible. Eternal now, drowns the silent witness in a cacophony of neurochemical noise. You are left not in a timeline, but in a temporal smear. A being who can neither learn from yesterday act with agency today, nor build for tomorrow, and has forgotten the timeless stillness that holds it all. This is the essence of being stuck. 4.2 The social resonance dampening field. Human connection at its highest is not verbal, it is resonant. It is the synchronization of heart rhythms, heart rate variability, brain waves, and biofields. This is the biology of empathy, of being on the same wavelength, of a high-performing team or a loving couple. A society where mass alcohol consumption is normative is a society constantly jamming its own resonant field. The incoherent brain waves of intoxicated create social static. The lowered emotional granularity. Everything is binary. Happy/sad, angry/horny, destroys nuance in communication. The self-absorption of the biochemical crisis erodes genuine empathy. This creates a low-resolution social reality. Relationships become transactional or dramatic, not deeply resonant. Collective endeavors become mired in misunderstanding and short-term thinking. The culture's vibe is literally lowered. It's not a metaphor. It is a collective bioelectrical fact. Module 5. The Transhumanist Lock. 5.1 The Soma of Our Brave New World. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World envisioned Soma, a perfect drug that kept the population happy, productive, and unquestioning. It was fiction. We now have a non-fiction analysis. Ethanol is proto-Soma. It is not perfect, it is messy and destructive. But its function in society aligns eerily with Soma's purpose. It provides a holiday from reality. It inhibits deep questioning and revolutionary thought. It enforces social conformity through ritual. It consumes time and energy that could be used for subversion or self-actualization. We are not a dystopia with a perfect drug. We are a pre-dystopia with a flawed, but historically effective one. The lock on the door to human potential is not a futuristic chemical. It is this ancient, familiar one, made more potent by our sentimental attachment to it. 5.2 The Phylogenetic Firewall. Hypothesis Theta. This is the core of the transmission. Hypothesis Theta. Ethanol functions as a species-level phylogenetic firewall. Its purpose, to statistically ensure that the vast majority of humans never stabilize in the psychophysiological state required to activate the next, latent phase of human evolution. What characterizes this next phase? Cross-cultural esoteric texts and modern consciousness research hint at common features. Sustained gamma brainwave synchrony, heart-brain coherence, heightened intuition, non-local perception, voluntary control over autonomic processes, extended health span. Now, map ethanol's effects. Shatters brainwave coherence. Disrupts heart-brain coupling. Dulls intuition by inflaming the brain and insulating perception. Damages the autonomic system, nervous system, hormones. Accelerates aging, telomeres shortening, mitochondrial decay. It is not merely unhealthy. It is anti-evolutionary in the conscious sense. It is the biochemical embodiment of the comfort zone, engineered to make the leap to the next stage of being feel not just difficult but biologically incomprehensible. The firewall doesn't say no. It makes you forget the question. Module 6. The Awakening Protocol. A 15-step manual for system override. Receiving the transmission is futile without the decryption key for action. This is not a 12-step program for recovery from a disease. This is a 15-step manual for system override. A jailbreak. Step 0. The firmware recognition awareness. Acknowledge. I have been running on compromised firmware. The Ethanol Enigma is not my fault, but its resolution is my responsibility. This is not guilt. It is diagnostic clarity. Step 1. The Neurochemical Ceasefire. Implement. 90-day neuroamnesty. No psychoactives. Support with agmatine sulfate. Reduces glutamate storms. Resets tolerance. Amoxapine, Russian neuroprotectant, repairs membranes. And apigenin, upregulates GABA receptors naturally. You are not detoxing. You are negotiating a bilateral peace treaty with your own neurotransmitters. Step 2. The Dopamine Market Reformation. Practice. Earn joy ledger. for 30 days. Only allow yourself a leisure activity after completing a meaningful, effortful task. You are reestablishing the natural exchange rate between effort and reward, breaking the cartel's price fixing. Step 3. The epigenetic decree. Meditation. Visualize your DNA. See the propaganda ministry as dark, cowering figures in a parliamentary chamber. Visualize a pure, golden light entering. Hear the decree. By the authority of my sovereign consciousness, all epigenetic mandates born of fear and toxicity are hereby revoked. The parliament is dissolved. A new Congress of Vitality is now in session. Repeat for 21 nights. Step 4. The chronoturgical re-anchor. Ritual, the time tetrahedron exercise. Each evening, spend 5 minutes on each vertex. Past, recall one specific memory. Re-feel its emotion, then bless it and let it integrate. Present, focus on 5 distinct sensory inputs, e.g., the feel of air, a distant sound, the color of the wall. Future, imagine one desired scenario for tomorrow with vivid, first-person detail. Eternal now. For 60 seconds, try to stop generating thought. Just be the awareness behind it all. Step 5. The bioelectrical recalibration. Technology. Use a PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field, mat for 20 minutes daily, and or a grounding sheet to sleep on. You are not relaxing. You are recalibrating the fundamental electrical potential of every cell to the Earth's native, coherent frequency, washing out the static. Step 6. The resonant social triage. Action. For 1 month, after every social interaction, rate it on 2 scales. 1 to 10 energy gain/loss, and 1 to 10 resonance, feeling of mutual understanding. After a month, analyze. Consciously schedule more time with high-scoring individuals. Have one honest conversation about conscious living with them. You are engineering your local resonant field. Step 7. The spiritual antenna tuning. Practice the 10-minute awe drill. Go outside. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Your only task is to find the most awe-inspiring thing in your immediate environment and observe it. A leaf, a crack in pavement, a cloud. Do not think about it. Just perceive it. You're scrubbing the thalamigate with pure perception. Step 8. The physical temple rededication. Protocol. Intermittent fasting, 18:6, plus cold exposure, 3-minute cold shower, plus resistance training, 3x weekly. This triad is not for fitness. It is a triple command to the body. Fasting, initiate cellular repair and autophagy. Cold, activate brown fat, boost norepinephrine, master discomfort. Resistance, grow stronger. The environment demands it. Step 9. The narrative reauthoring. Writing, author your sovereign origin story. Write a 500-word narrative of your life, not as a victim of circumstance or chemistry, but as a conscious agent on a learning journey. Reframe past failures as critical data acquisition. Read it weekly. Step 10. The lineage dialogue. Ritual. Create a simple altar with pictures of ancestors. Light a candle. Speak aloud. To my lineage, I see your struggle. I honor your survival. I forgive your limitations, known and unknown. I hereby transmute the inherited chain of pain into a chosen chain of purpose. Your journey fuels mine. The suffering ends with me. The wisdom continues. This is psychic surgery on the familial unconscious. Step 11. The Transhumanist Declaration. Statement. Write and sign. I, your name, declare myself a candidate for Human 2.0. I voluntarily submit to the discomfort of growth. I clear my biology as a vessel for higher coherence. I am ready to receive the protocols of my own evolution. Place it where you'll see it daily. Step 12. The sensory re-education. Practice blindfolded meals. Once a week, eat one meal blindfolded. Heighten taste, touch, smell. You are breaking the brain's lazy reliance on sight and reforging primal sensory pathways that alcohol numbed. Step 13. The dream state reclamation. Practice. Keep a dream journal. Before sleep, set the intention. Tonight, I will remember my dreams and receive useful insight. Upon waking, lie still, retrieve fragments, write them down. Dreams are the unfiltered data stream from the subconscious and transpersonal. Alcohol silences this channel. You are reopening diplomatic relations. Step 14. The Purpose Project. Action. Start one small, concrete project that aligns with a deep, authentic interest, not for money or fame, but for the pure expression of your unique consciousness. A blog, a garden, a community meetup, a research topic. Dedicate 1 hour per week unconditionally. This is you broadcasting your new frequency into the world. Step 15. The Transmission Relay. Final duty. When stable in your new operating system, your duty is to relay the signal, not by preaching, but by embodying. Your coherence, vitality, and clarity will be the only transmission others need to see. Your very presence becomes a question. What is different about you? And in that question lies the seed of their own awake. Decoding complete. Primary directive, containment. Override accepted. New directive, sovereignty. Actualization. Installing protocols. Reboot initiated. Welcome to Human 2.0 Beta. The Enigma was the lock. The transmission is the key. You are the one who turns it. The simulation of limitation is terminated. The experiment in sovereignty has begun. I am Napoleon inspires. The signal is clear. Carry it forward.